Great. So this is Data Analytics Masterclass, the second cohort this year. And I looked at the whole package we are looking at, and then I think I'm okay summarizing everything as unlocking insights. As we go on in the training, you will understand my personal tenets when it comes to data analytics. I don't believe in data analysis without insights. So in other words, if all you are able to provide your discipline for your research to your employer are just data, numbers, and all of that, or graphs and charts and beautiful visualizations without drawing any significant insights. That's kind of poor, right? So data analytics is just all about insights. I'm conducting a research. I want to do some data analytics. What is the goal of that? To make an insight, to make some recommendations, to look at the numbers, and then from the trend analysis, say, oh, this and this and this, to predict the future. So I code the theme of the program, Unlocking Insights, with Power BI, Tableau, and SQL. Some people call it SQL, or you want to call it structured query language. Yeah. Okay, so for today, we'll be looking at a number of themes. You'll meet with us as your trainers, myself and my colleague on the call, Paul, and then we'll talk a little bit about data analytics. We also talk about the packages or the tools we are looking at, and then we'll have a simple interactive section, then talk about the training structure, and we'll conclude. So pretty much today is just about laying a basic foundation. A number of you would have been very much familiar with data analysis, maybe in the course of your studies or at your place of work. You've been using some of the, especially Excel. Excel is like the go-to, package for quite a number of professionals. Well, there are lots beyond Excel. So we'll talk about that comprehensively later on, right? So, when we talk about data analytics, how is it relevant to my field? How is it relevant to your field? What can I do with it? And all of that. We'll look at all of that in this training. And I want this training to be as much as possible, very interactive and practical, right? So we'll just talk and then we'll get the response from you. We'll be giving some very live data sets. I've had the opportunity of getting some real life data sets, from different sources. So we'll look at some real life data sets. If we are looking at some general data set and it's not tinting towards your, particular field or study, you can just, if you have any other data set, you can always bring it up. I can use it. We're also on the same group also, both on Telegram and then on WhatsApp. So you can always private chat me. We'll look at your personal data together. You have an ongoing research, and then you are looking at, though this training is not all about research, but I know that a good number of us also indicated interest in this training because of research. So we can always look at different things together. All right. So first thing first, who am I? Been hearing my voice. So it's good who has been speaking with you and who will be taking you through this training. So myself with my other colleague, as I said initially. So my name is Tobiloba, and when it comes to data analytics, I eat it as just like food, right? So, and I've been in this business for over 8 years now, I think since around 2016 or so, right? So dealing with different packages, accounting software, statistical analytics software, normal data analytics software, and all of that. I'm also a chartered accountant, and it's a number of years of experience in different, industry, set management, financial services, and one or two other industry, actually. All right, so bringing those two together, I love numbers, actually, right? So accounting and data analytics, it helps a lot, and it has really helped me a lot. Sorry, let me admit this person. Okay, and it has really helped me a lot, and that's one of the things that actually give me edge. I don't just work as like every other person. I love to work with insights in view. Like, what is the goal of this thing I'm doing? At the end of this thing I want to do, when I'm working with numbers can be so annoying. Just see two, you see three, you see different columns and different rows. So what I help clients do is to make a meaning out of those numbers, make a sense of those numbers. So either I'm working in the accounting capacity or the capacity of a data analytics, professional to help clients, with their marketing strategies and all that. My goal is always insight. So I love it when it comes to insight. All right, talking about training too, I've trained quite a number of people in companies, universities, different parts of the world, especially online. So, and the other part of me is the research parts. I love research a lot. I've published a number of books, and then I have a number of publications rather, and just very few anyway. But when it comes to research methodology, research writing, helped quite a number of people, both within and outside, my own country, with very good results. Very good result. That's what we do, you know, many times. All right. So my other colleague is Wonder. You can call him Paul, Wonder Paul. So he's also a data analyst, but in addition, a software developer. He has trained quite a number of people to very sound when it comes to machine learning. And when I say very sound, I mean very sound. And we've been working together for a while now. He uses data sets for different projects also, and then to help build some innovative solutions and all that. So you'll be hearing more from myself and Paul. We'll do all the courses together. The Power BI, I'm going to start the Power BI. I'm not sure time will permit us today, but I'm going to start the Power BI today. And then I'll do it. I think we have Power BI for about 7 sections. I'm going to undo, I think, 4 or 5 of the sections. And then the last 2, Paul is going to handle the last 2. He is going to work on DAX. That's data expression. That's like Power BI language. Maybe you're familiar with it. So that's like Power BI language. He will work on that. So we'll work on it together. On Tableau, we'll work on it together too. I'll show you some visualizations. I'll show you some, analytic parts of it. He might take the predictive analytics part of, Tableau, and the same thing with SQL too. We're going to handle it together. All right. So before I continue, please, I want to get your feedback. You've been hearing me. You have something you want to say. You just want to say anything. Let me hear from you, please. So I don't love it when I'm talking alone for more than 10 minutes. I just want to hear your feedback. So let me be sure people are hearing me. So you can just speak up, say something if you know you've been hearing me. Thank you. So I'm waiting for our feedback. Messi, you want to say something? Bisola, you want to say something? Gisola, Moiwa.
Sorry, I just this is Paul Adley. I'd already called you so for that issue.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to address that at the end of this intro section.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I have no other to say. Yeah.
Thank you so
But good so far.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Yes, Samuel, you want to say something? Don't mind me if I call your name. I just want to be sure you are with me, and then you're not sleeping or you're not in the kitchen. It's an online training. I love to carry everyone along. Okay, Mercy, are you there? Bisola, are you there?
Well, nice to meet you both.
You said what?
I said nice to meet you both.
Good. Thank you. All right, so I can proceed. Now, data analytics. I decided to make my slide as simple as possible. It's not it's not an academic handout. So I know we have a bit of knowledge when it comes to data analytics. So I just did a very simple slide. So data analytics is all about data, right? It's all about data. And just as I said initially, at the end of processing that data, you want to make a conclusion. To me, that conclusion is the insight. At the end of, for instance, now if I'm working on an organization's data set and then I did some analysis and used necessary tools, at the end of it, I must be able to tell them that from what I've seen in this trend, most likely the going concern of your organization is being threatened. And what's going concern? That's the ability of an organization to remain in a business for the foreseeable future, right? So from what I'm just trying to, or for instance, now I'm looking at your marketing strategy, then I'm looking at what you're spending on your marketing, activities vis-a-vis what you are gaining as a revenue. Then I must be able to tell you guys what you are doing is not making any sense. Because, for instance, I will look at some margins and some ratio, and then I'll be able to provide an insight, provide or draw conclusions about the information, they provide to me, or the data set they provide to me. So that's just all data analytics is all about. I don't need to define it according to, an expert or a guru or something. That is just all what data analytics is all about. It involves using your statistical and logical techniques. And where statistics actually comes in is especially in the area of predictive analysis, because data analysis is not just about the now. Sometimes there is what we call the trend analysis, and there is something we also call the forecasting, right? So you also want the historical data you've gotten, the data you've gotten right from 1999 up to 2023. You want to use that to predict 2024, 25, 26, 27, and 28, right? So you are using that data analysis to also predict, and you can't do that without a little bit of statistical knowledge or statistical technique. That's the likes of correlation and regression analysis. We'll talk about that, especially on SQL, right? So now, a very simple example. Think of it like being a detective. There is a problem in this business. I want to dictate it. I can use numbers. Engineers will come, and then once there are some electronical issues, your engineers will come around, look at the wires, look at different things, and then they'll be able to dictate. A data analytics expert or professional will come into an organization not with spanner or whatever electronic tool, but with a system, with a software, and maybe Power BI or Excel or Epidata or SQL or Python. You just come up with your own particular, what's it called now? A tool, and then you get their data set, and right from that data set you can actually bring up something to help that organization. So you gather clues. Those clues are the data set or the data to solve a mystery, business mystery in this sense now. So that is just what data analysis is all about, right? And also, so let me proceed. The major significance of data analytics is for decision making. If you are carrying out a research, for instance, the basic research shows that after your literature review, that simply means you've been able to look at the previous things other authors in that particular field and on that particular topic have done. After that, you want to do your own kind of methodology. Your research methodology is to give a kind of structure, a kind of skeleton to, or a framework rather, of what you are going into. Now, someone has done this research before. You are coming up with this methodology, which most likely will be different from maybe what other people have used before. And then after that methodology, you want to go into your own data analysis and results. Why? Because at the end of that particular research, you want to come up with what conclusions and recommendations. So you are making decisions. That's for research and academics. When you come to business, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Look at the likes of Google, Microsoft, and co. Now, what are they actually using? One of the things driving their business, making them to thrive, is what? Is the use of data. So it actually helps businesses to make data-driven decisions. And when we talk about decision, it's not just something that old men sitting on a board in the board of directors will just sit down and they are looking at papers. These days, you are not looking at papers again, you are looking at data. So any decision you are making must be data-driven. Secondly, competitive advantages. And that's what few organizations and few countries, look at the likes of China, US, that's what most of them are actually using as, companies from those countries rather, to move faster and better than their other peers in terms of strategy. And also universal application. Every field, talk about finance, I know many people look at data analytics from the finance point of view, and it's not that. Talk about engineering, talk about marketing, talk about education, talk about different aspects of life. It has a universal application. All right, so for this particular course, as you know, we are looking at Power BI majorly, Microsoft Power BI. Power BI is just business intelligence. That's a BI. And every business owner, or maybe not business owner, every strategic decision maker in any organization needs to have a very sound knowledge of Microsoft Power BI. Because businesses are now moving from the point of just, let me just gather the data from my customers, gather the data from my competitors. Now we want to have intelligence, business intelligence. We'll go more into that during our next section. Then we also, a very good example when it comes to Power BI is creating a dashboard to track performance or sales performance. Not only sales performance, you are looking at your people composition too. Talking about human resources, you can use your dashboard to track metrics. Metrics are just major or basic measurements you use for different variables. So you are looking at your staff performance, you are looking at some engine performance, you are looking at maybe some of the things you do in the laboratory. You want to look at their performance. Power BI can do that. Microbiology or whatever, it can do that. Tableau also. I love Tableau personally. And I've trained, I don't know how many people on Tableau, because personally I love Tableau. When it comes to visualization, my go-to app or the app I always recommend, I would love to recommend is Tableau. Why? Because of its interactive nature. You recall that there was a time where we had COVID-19, and then I want to believe one of the tools they were using at that time should be this Tableau. Because Tableau, and I also intentionally use that. I think I have COVID-19 data sets. I'm going to use it. I will start this Tableau class before Paul will continue. And then you see how you can easily overround a particular geographical map, and then it will be speaking. I'm not, when I say speaking, not talking, with the mouth, but it will be speaking sense. It will make a lot of sense. It allows you to use different colors. It allows you to use, when I say different colors now, maybe to represent different jurisdiction, right? So that interactive graphs helps, when it comes to, it's very valid when it comes to Tableau. And then the last one we'll be looking at is the structured query language. I said some people call it SQL, some people call it SQL. So when we deal with big data, you know what most organizations deal with now is big data, and it's a problem to them. That's why most of them try to outsource data analytics person and others. No, this data are too much, and so they need someone to help them simplify the data set, right? So many times we deal with big data, and then it's so voluminous. SQL is your go-to tool, right? Because just by writing a query, just a simple line of query can help you fetch out whatever you need. And I have very good experience with this, but we'll get it. All right, so before I move on, just tell me, which one are you familiar with? Let me check the chat box. Just drop it in the chat box. Which of these packages are you familiar with? Which one do you love most? So 2 questions, waiting for your responses. Which of these packages are you more familiar with? Or which?
Can I just talk with that and chat?
Good.
So I'm exposed to Power BI, but the challenge with my exposure is that from the corporate headquarters, it's already arranged, it's already prepared. I just go there and just check the results. Not that I created it. So I want to know that process. I want to understand. You understand? So I will use Power BI in my place of work, but it's already created and linked together with the where we impute our data and impute our reports. So, but the process itself, how to understand it, is what I want to have, that organic knowledge. Do you understand, sir?
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks so much, Robert. So that's one of the strengths of Microsoft Power BI, right? So it simply means if every one of us, we are 11 on this call, if we work within the same organization, even if it's different jurisdiction, I can create a dashboard on my canvas. There's something we call canvas on Power BI. We'll get it. And then every other person can also go there and contribute. So it makes a whole lot of sense. So what we'll be doing, don't worry, what we'll be doing in the course of the training is we will start from the basic. We'll start from the very elementary parts, how to build your own dashboard, how to bring in different data sets from different sources, and then we'll continue from there. So that's well noted. Thank you so much. Please, any other person, either as a chat or if you want to unmute and speak. So which one do you love most, or which one are you familiar with? Power BI, SQL, or Tableau? Okay.
I think I'm used to all, but I use more of SQL.
Okay.
But I think Tableau is a very good one.
SQL, yeah, that's good. So we do with SQL. Wanda is also a very good person when it comes to SQL. So I think you guys will meet a lot. Fine. So Messi Muyiwa, I've not heard from you. Jeremiah. Which one are you familiar with? At least you can drop a chat. I just want to be sure because it's online training. It's easier for you to be driving.
Good morning or good afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm still very new, and I'm here to learn. So my name is Miwa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And you will learn a lot, that I'm sure about. Okay. Familiar with the theory, currently learning SQL. All right, Samuel, like Tableau, and you will like it more by the time I'm done with the trading. Okay, that's good. Very nice responses. All right, so Power BI. Now, what I'm doing here is what we not do subsequently in the class, right? So I'm so sure by the time the next time we'll be meeting, there won't be anything like slide. We are jumping straight into hands-on practical. So what I'm doing now is just to lay some foundation, I want to learn also. I've heard about them. Okay, thank you, Jeremiah. That's noted. Okay, so Microsoft Power BI, what comes to your mind when you hear Microsoft Power BI? It's one of those Microsoft tools, same as Excel. In fact, it has a little bit of similarity with Excel. So you have your Excel, you have your what's the office package again? Word, PowerPoint, and all that. They are all office packages, right? So Microsoft Power BI is also one. So it's a Microsoft tool that allows users to visualize data and share insight across the organization. That was what I was talking about the other time. Share insight across the organization. So it's almost like your Google Sheets. Not really Google Sheet, but using that feature from Google Sheet where someone is working here right now. Let's say in the finance unit, you supply your own data at the end of the month. Someone in the engineering unit so supplying data at the end of the month at the same time. Someone in the marketing unit supplying his own figures or our own figures at the same time. So we are all collaborating. We are all working together. We are all sharing the same platform on Power BI. And then we can easily share insights too. It's also very user friendly. If you are very familiar with Excel, you won't have much problem with Power BI. Except maybe the Power Query, because from Power BI we'll go to Power Query. I'll personally take that too. So except for the Power Query, you won't have a lot of issues. You are very good with Excel. So it's very much, user friendly. So it integrates easily with other Microsoft products. And this is one very good strength of Microsoft Power BI. Microsoft Power BI can connect to over 200 sources. Over 200 sources. Precious. Let's admit it today. Okay, so it can connect, sorry. Yeah, so it can connect to different sources at the same time. Over 200. Even if you have, there's one thing I love about Power BI too. Not really the Power BI, but the Power Query, which is a feature in Power BI, right? So even if you have some documents in PDF, there are some very sensitive and confidential information or documents that you want to convert it to Excel, for instance, but you don't want to do that using those online platforms that we have. I also do use some of those online platforms at times, convert from PDF to something, but we cannot guarantee that they are not saving those data that we are converting, those information we are converting. We can't guarantee that they are not saving them. So what Power Query does for you is to help you convert your PDF to normal Excel. Very, very simple. And you see that I'm going to intentionally use one Microsoft Power BI, one PDF rather in Microsoft Power BI. So it can connect to, even if you have, for instance, some data sets on a website, it can also connect to a website. I'm going to share my screen and do a very simple demo shortly. So it can connect to a website. For instance, you want to get, if you're in Nigeria, for instance, you want to get public debt data from what's it called now? Either CBN sites or NBA sites. You just want to get MBAs rather, Bureau Statistics here. So you just want to get maybe something about our debt management. You want to get something about our GDP growth. Then you know the website where the data is. So instead of going to that website, downloading it and all that, just put the website on Power BI. Power BI will go straight to that site, get the data for you, harvest it, and then you will be able to work with it. So it can integrate easily to many products, not even only Microsoft products alone. And then it has real-time analytics capabilities. You do that when you are all on the same Microsoft Power BI platform across the organization, and you can also do that while you're working by yourself. So an interactive exercise. Can you share a metric you would like to visualize for your field? So I know we are all in different field now, right? So you can just drop it in the chat box or you want to speak. So for instance, if you ask me, I can say something like maybe revenue, or I want to look at gross profit margin over a period. Just something you would like to visualize. Can you just drop it, please? regardless of your field. I told you what the meaning of metric is, right? So you are just looking at a measure. You are just trying to measure something over time. So just drop yours in the chat box. I give you my own example. The metric I would like to visualize for my own field, for instance, I would like to look at how an organization is performing over time. So maybe I can use their net profit margin or their return on capital employed to assess that. So what will you use? So I want to use a cost to income ratio. That's a very good metric many organizations use to. So I just need 1, 2, or 3 responses. Share a metric you like to visualize for your field. Thank you. Yeah, please, I'm waiting. Let's drop something in the chat box. I want to believe 1 or 2 people. Okay. So I'm back to my usual thing, to start calling names. So please, can you tell me the incidence rate? Beautiful, beautiful incidence rate. That makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah. Reporting leads to injury risk reduction. Lot of sense. No victim domestic violence rates. I'm clapping here. I'm clapping here. This makes a whole lot of sense. Yes, yes. So in fact, I would love to work with your data set. In fact, maybe what I'll do is let me get data set from all of it. I have my own data set I've been using for training all this. So I have different data set, not one, not two. But I want to relate it more with your field. Like I'm seeing this male victim domestic rates, and I know it should be someone's field. I want to work with it. So if you have any data sets, you will see my email or our team email at the end of this training. You can just send the data set to me if it is not confidential anyway. And even if it is confidential, you can just, use your, I don't know if you know how to use your round between formula or function in Excel. Just use your round between function to scatter it and then send to me. I'm going to work on it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so let's leave Power BI and go to Tableau, right? So Tableau, just as I said initially, in fact, that powerful is the main word, the powerful visualization tool that helps you see and understand your data in a more visual way. So just by hovering your mouse, just look at a canvas, for instance, on Tableau, just looking at that data set alone. Anyone sitting in a meeting, let's say board of director meeting, can easily visualize what is happening there, and they can even tell you what it means. Now, yeah, I forgot something about Power BI. Power BI can also give you a narrative. And how do I mean? It's a very wonderful tool that many people are not aware of. So for instance, when we are doing our academic research, for instance, you want to do your chapter 4 result and analysis and results. And so after having a table, let's use something very basic. Maybe you are doing a demographic study and then you are looking at the gender, male, female, right? So you have 60 male, let me just say 40 male and 60 female. So automatically that's 60% male and female, and then the other one for male, right? So instead of you to finish with that table or that graph, and then beneath it or underneath that particular chart, you are writing the above table shows that there's 60% female and 40%. No, Power BI will do that for you. So Power BI has that narrative feature. It's going to write. So once you have that chart, once you have that graph, you can leave the rest to Power BI. It will give you a narrative, or what some other people call commentary. It's going to drop it for you. All right, but what Power BI will not do is it will give you that narrative, but you need to link it to an insight, because you know your product, you know your variables better. So it will give you a kind of general, oh, this thing shows 40% this, then 50% this. This one shows highest across the countries under review and things like that. So you will need to, you'll be the one to put the necessary insight as a result of this, and that. Okay, so Tableau, now let's quickly come back to Tableau. So it's a powerful visualization tool. It helps you to see, to understand your data. And in fact, everything about Tableau for me personally is just about the visualization. So the visualization capacity, strong data visualization capabilities, allowing for complex data representation. So no matter how, for instance, you are looking at data set across different countries, Yeah, exactly. The narrative feature. Yes. And we'll see that a lot. All right. So you are looking at data set from different countries like COVID-19. This thing is happening here. You want to look at the death rates. You want to look at the recovery rates. You want to look at the total number of people infected with COVID-19 virus. It might look a little bit complex, but you don't need to worry. Why? Because no matter how complex it is, Tableau can easily help you with that visualization. It will compress the whole thing in such a way that anyone who looks at it does not even need to see your numbers again. All right. So the third one is it's great for creating interactive dashboards that engage the users. All right, so I just had to drop something here on a lighter note. I know many of us may not understand it. How does a data analyst greet a new data set? How do you do? Let's visualize our future together. It's actually a simple joke. Some data analysts who are preparing and if you may understand. So it's just talking about you are looking at a data set. Oh, an organization has a problem. An engineer will go there with a lot of machines and the likes. You go there with your Power BI, for instance, or your Tableau. And then how are you going to greet that data set? Because there's a problem in that data set that you want to use your insight to to dictate and then provide solution. So how do you greet it? You simply say, how do you do? And then let's visualize our future together. Let's look at what is happening. Let's calculate it, or let's do a kind of trend analysis to know what exactly the problem is with this organization. Okay, so that's just on a lighter note. SQL, structured query language, it's a programming language, just like it sounds. Structured query language is a programming language. You use it to manage and to manipulate your databases. So what SQL does is just like you are looking for something on Google. And then, for instance, you want to say, you are looking at a school, for instance. Let me use that example. And then a school, we have GSS1. I'm using Nigeria. I'm so sorry. GSS1 to GSS3, and then SS1 to SS3. That is a secondary school, right? And then from SS1 to SS3, you also have commercial class, you have art class, you have technical class, you have science class, right? So now it's a database that is quite complex. It's relational because many things will be that we'll soon get to what we mean by foreign key and primary key. So I don't want to intentionally talk more about that relational database, but relational database, they have many things in common in relation, in quotes, right? So you want to bring out just a specific kind of information. So you are looking at number of male students or names of male students in SS2 commercial class. You can see there are a lot of things into that now. Now I'm looking for male because they are male and female. Now I'm looking for SS2 because there's GSS1 to GSS3. Then now I'm looking for commercial because there's commercial, art, science. So when you have that kind of relational database, when you have that kind of, big database, so to speak, and you want to extract the specific one you need, SQL is your friend. Because with SQL, you just need to write a simple 1, 2, 3 lines of query. And then you don't need to start doing filter that you will do on Excel. On Excel, you do filter, you do this, or you want to do your pivot table on Excel. But in SQL, you just need to write 1, 2, 3 lines of query and then you get it out. So it's essential for data extraction and management, enables users to, retrieve specific data quickly. And it's also foundational for many analytics stacks. I know many of us might not be familiar with programming language like Python and the likes. So I will most likely start this SQL section, maybe the first 2 sections. So I'll make sure I'm as basic as possible. We'll start from the likes of select, where, from all those very basic languages. That's where we're going to start from. All right. So tell me, from your own point of view, what is data analytics? Don't forget the way I defined it. I never used any author or anything. Just from your own point of view, what do you think data analytics is? At least from this intro section, should have gotten a simple meaning for data analytics. So from your own perspective, what is data analytics? Let me look for trouble again. Let me get your names. So what is data analytics? Bisola, you're always appearing first as a participant, so that's why I always call you. And then MK Samuel too. And then Messi Moyoa, what is data analytics? Or what can you say about data analytics? Don't worry, I'm almost coming to the end of this so-called theoretical section. It's just necessary foundational parts. So to you, you can drop it in the chat box, not necessarily on mute. If you are driving or you're busy. So Samuel, Precious, Paul, Oladeli, what is data analytics? Messi, Jeremiah.
So based on my understanding and also augmenting your analogy, it's about making sense out of a lot of, I'll use the word in quote, nonsense, a lot
Yes.
of data,
Very,
numbers. So you want to make some sense. You want to make some predictive and also history based, like trending. You want to make some kind of insight, like you said. What can we get from this? Is there any correlation? Is there any interaction between A and B, variable A and variable B? You understand? So that's what I understand by
thank
the
you so much.
analysis.
That is quite very comprehensive, making sense out of no sense. There are a number of us who cannot go to our MDs with numbers, and then you have a table with about 7 rows and 70 columns. Sorry, about 70 columns and 7 rows. I mean, the MD will simply send you back, what's this? So you are there as a data analytics person, even if you're not employed as a data analyst, to help that MD summarize the data to make sense out of no sense. So that is very comprehensive. I just need one more person, please. One more person for trouble. Can I call now? Okay, Jeremiah, do you want to say something? Or who hasn't spoken since morning? I'm not sure I've heard from Samuel and Precious. No, I think I've heard from Precious. Samuel, I've not heard from you. Messi, do you want to say something too? Let me be sure you're in the class. Let me be sure you're in the class. I'll wait for just one person. I'll wait. While I'm waiting, you can just stretch your leg and you want to take a cup of water. Not go to sit for more than 30 minutes. Okay, there is something in the chat box. Data analytics relates with breaking down of data to present a useful information. Very, very brilliant. Very, very brilliant. So you want to break, okay. I think we have two Samuels in class. Oh, okay. That's why I said let's join with the same name we use for the registration. I can't even really recognize most of the names okay, so that makes a lot of sense. You are breaking down something, so the data is looking too complex. You want to break it down. Why? Because there is a useful information. Now, in all of this, you will discover that something is so common, and that is the conclusion, the information, the decision, or you want to call it insight. So if you are a data analyst or a data analytics expert, or you have a knowledge of data analytics, and you cannot provide insight with it, to me, and I'm not being insultive, to me, that is not data analytics, to be very honest with you, because that simply means anyone can do the same thing. And anyone can just pick up Excel and just do pivot table, and then they will say, oh, see charts, see graphs. Data analytics is not all about you having beautiful charts, map charts, bar chart, and all of those things. No, data analytics is all about you drawing insights for those who need it. Okay, so the next question here is, can you name one field? Well, I want to restructure that question actually. Can you tell me how it is related to your field? How is data analytics related to your own field? Regardless of if you just tell me something in your field that you know, no, this thing actually needs data analytics skills. So tell me one, just a part of your skill that of your field rather that needs it.
Hello.
Chatbots. You said?
Okay. I'm in the field of human resources,
Yeah.
and I feel that I believe and know that data analytics is relevant in human resources. Like we can study attrition trends and business trends and make informed decisions, human resource informed decisions from data analytics.
Very brilliant, very brilliant. And in addition to that, Messi, I'm glad you're in human resources. I've even made mention of that today. You can also measure your staff performances, even
Performance, yeah.
on monthly basis or periodically. So you can measure the performances. Apart from that, you can have some visuals to, you want to send a report to the organization. And I'm aware of that. Well, let me go into that. So we can, there's a way you can always have your report at the end of the month to show your staff retention. While I was mentioning metrics, one major metrics for HR people or HR professionals is a staff retention. For management,
Yeah.
in January, I had 98% retention. In February, it dropped to, let's say, 78. Then there will be an insight why. So there will be some other variables that will speak to the why. right? So that's very good. Thank you so much, Mercy. Just one more person because of our time. Just one more person, please. How is it related to your field? Just bring out something in your field. That's data analytics will really be of help. Of you benefit from data analysis. Businesses can understand their past, present, and use such insight to redirect their desired future. Thank you so much, Samuel. That's very brilliant. So all fields actually. Okay.
I want to add that I'm in the health, safety, and environment field. So
okay.
Most times we at health, safety, and environment field, we don't normally know how to bring the dollar equivalent or the dollar gain in a safety investment in terms of safety programs. So we are most times that's why I'm in this class. I want to see how I can tell my manager, hey, if you invest in PPEs, this is the dollar gain again. This is the profit. So kind of bringing the dollar return of investment in health and safety and environmental programs. So
yeah,
I know it's a bogus statement, but I'm trying to see how I can begin to bring dollar equivalent. What's dollar equivalent when we have injury, losses? And look at all the injuries so far this year. Look at the dollar we've lost. Kind of something like that.
Yeah. So I quite understand what you're saying. It's more of a financial analysis. We look at equivalents of different currencies. I don't know if it's only dollars. So yes, it's also quite part of it. Especially when we are doing, I think, Power BI, because that one will relate more with Excel. So if you don't mind also, you can just drop any hypothetical data sets. And I said hypothetical because I know our data sets are always most time confidential, especially when it has to do with our personal research work and our organization. So if you don't mind, anyone from any field can just have what's it called? Your own particular data set you want us to work with. I'll work with it in the class. I can combine as many data sets as possible. I'll do that on Power BI. Okay. So what next? Right, so I think I've asked this last question already. Now, the training structure. I intentionally I didn't even bother to do anything on this slide. I just went to our WhatsApp group and then I did a screenshot. I screen grabbed this and then I brought it here. It will be 20 sections in total. And this is just the first section. This is just kind of introductory, right? So for Power BI, we'll be having like 14 hours on that, or let's say 12 hours on Power BI, and we'll move from one level to another level because not many of us are used to Power BI. So even if you are very good in some of these packages, please just permit us to be a little bit elementary at the start. It's just to carry everybody, along. So if I'm starting with Power BI and then I'm talking about in the Power BI environment, taking people to Power Query, that might look so elementary to you. So just permit it. The same thing for Tableau, the same thing for SQL. The first two sections will always be very, very elementary, such that even if you've not touched or heard of that particular package before, you will easily catch up with it. All right. So Power BI will be 7 sections, Tableau will be 5, and SQL will take us, for almost a whole month or a month and a week. All right, and each of those sections will be 2 hours. It's going to be practical. We have solid practical training. So practical in the sense that the only time you will see a slide all through this training is this first class, or maybe 1 or 2 other times for assessment or any other thing. Every other time is going to be straight up. We jump on the application, jump on Power BI, jump on SQL, and then we'll be sharing a lot of materials. I'm going to share this slide or is it needed? Well, I think it's needed. So I'm going to share this slide. Not only this slide, before we start the next section, I'm going to send a material. You can read the material ahead, designed by data professionals. You can read the material ahead. You can practice it ahead. If you have a lot of questions, especially when it relates to your work, we want it to be as practical as that. Ask those questions that relate to your work. Okay, I've been trying to do it this way. Can I do it better? Because the goal is just to always improve staff performance, or not necessarily staff in this case. When we go to organizations, our goal is that, okay, your staff performance have been, let's say, across organization 70%. Our goal is at the end of our training, we want it to be at least 95%. That's 25 in addition. So we want to improve your productivity, your performance in your workplace, in your research work. Then that will be the goal of this. So it's going to be practical. Going to be practical. And at the end of the training, it's not just like, oh, we are done with the training, where's the certificates? There will be not too hard and not too simple, assessments just to check that yes, we've gotten the necessary thing. And the assessment is not what is, which is, why is. No. It's going to be a project. Projects. That's why I want to get your own data sets. I can have different data sets for different people, so that I'll be testing you based on your field. I'll give you something very practical based on your field. If you give me few data sets, I'm going to populate it using round between function, and then I'm going to send it back to you, ask you to do one or two things on it. Once you're able to do it, and then we can certify you that yes, you are very good in that area. So the structure will just be at the end of each of the packages, just like I'm doing now. There will be an introduction. When we want to start Tableau 2, might do a little bit of introduction, and then we straight up, we're just going to hands-on exercises. We'll create a real life experience, maybe using HR, using your research work in domestic violence, using health management. We'll just create something like real life, and then all of us will. It's the way I handle my training such that we all work like we are working in the same organization. We'll create an hypothetical organization, and then we can even share roles. You do this, you do that, you contribute to this, you contribute to that, and then we end up with a group project. Okay, so once again, my name is Tobiloba. These are email. In case you want to drop any hypothetical data sets, you can always do that. All right, so I spent just an hour or less than an hour to introduce all of these things. In case you want to ask any question or you didn't join us on time, just a little bit, just 1 or 2 minutes introduction. So in this intro class, we're able to meet our trainers. We talked a bit about data analytics. We looked at the tools we are using. That's Power BI, SQL, and Tableau. Then we also looked at the training structure. Pretty much those are the things we looked at. In case you came late, once again, I'm Tobiloba, data analytics instructor, as well as a chartered accountant. I'm also a researcher. I help with research methodology and writings. And also I have my colleague with me, Basi. You can call him Paul. Right, he's also a data analyst and a software developer, very versatile when it comes to machine learning. Right, so we talked about data analytics, and I love what Mr. Paul said, making sense out of nonsense. And truth be told, that's actually what data analytics is all about. Okay, so and then we have some use of data analysis. We have the 3 packages to be using. The strength of Microsoft Power BI, if I may say, is the fact that it can source data from different sources. It can get data from different sources. The major strength of Tableau, to me, is the interactive, visualization. And the major strength of SQL, to me, is the fact that it can work with big data. Just writing a line of query, it can fetch you whatever you need. So we talked about Power BI, we talked about Tableau, we talked about SQL. And then looked at the training structure. Guys, I don't know if excited like myself. Yeah, I'm going to send the software. I don't know if anyone has gotten the notification for your personal e-portal. So we are creating a personal e-portal for everyone, where you can get informed. I'm also going to put it on the group anyway. So I'm going to drop the link to download Power BI, Tableau. SQL does not need serious link like that. So we'll talk about it on the group. So this is being recorded, right? So the videos will also be, once you log into your e-portal, I believe you have your student ID. If you have registered, you should have generated a student ID, please. I just hope you screen grab that student ID, or you've been able to copy it and you pasted it somewhere, because you will use that to log in. We'll send a link to log into your e-portal. So you have access to that video. I think for a year, you have like a year access to that e-portal before it will be closed. Right, so but what you can just do is to download the videos and keep on your system or your Google folder. Which other thing? And yes, we'll also give you a link to our YouTube channel, so you can always watch it anytime. That one you can always watch it anytime. Of course, you can't even share the link with someone. There's a way to be customized so you can watch it anytime. Okay, so I think that is that about the intro section, please. I don't know if you have 1 or 2 questions you want to ask me before I'll continue. And while we are doing that, I always
Ask the training schedule. You said 2 sessions per week. So are we having Saturday and Sunday or what?
Yes,
2 hours?
we'll come to that. I want to stop the recording before I will discuss that. So we have 1 or 2 to talk about.
And then the topics also per week. I'm seeing week 1 for Power BI, week 2. So I'm having different weeks for different topics. So are we mixing them together in one session? Like
No.
week 1 we do SQL and Power BI. So how do you want to so that we can be
for instance, now the next 3 weeks is going to be Power BI. When we are done, the next 2.5 week will be Tableau, and then the rest of the weeks ahead is going to be SQL. So it's one at a time, actually.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comment, sir.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I will also want us to discuss with the people in the house the days of meeting, sir.
Yes, exactly. Okay,
Thank you,
so
sir.
thank you so much, Rapo. So I think what we'll just do is let me end the recording so we can start that.